to the Rams, Robbie Robinson, who you had a front row seat for an atmosphere that probably rivaled as good as any we've seen in the Siegel Center on Saturday.
I tell you what, our fans can get up, can't they? I mean, they can rise to the occasion, much like the Rams have done over the last 5-10 years. Our fans, when we ask them to get up and get rowdy and find that next level, they do, and they did on Saturday morning at 11 o'clock. Who would have ever thought, if you're sitting in an office somewhere in October or September saying, what do you think the atmosphere is going to be like at a game at 11 o'clock in the morning on Saturday at the beginning of February, for someone to look at you, point at you, and say it's going to be absolutely off the chains? And Greg, it was, and it was a blast. I've had so many people over the last few days just say, gosh, that was unbelievable. It was a rival of like Butler and the Oklahoma game and all these other great, monumental pantheon games that they've had at the Siegel Center, and that one goes right in that long list of phenomenal environments. And it's because our fans were there and were loud and were rowdy, and you've got to tip your hat to them.
More importantly, the Rams on the floor brought it for 40 straight minutes. Never really allowed Richmond to make that counter punch that you see. It's part of college basketball. It's a game of runs. We've said it. Usually a team gets a lead and a team does. We really never saw that counter punch because the Rams didn't allow it.
Well, not to argue a little bit, but they counterpunched, but we came back,
right? Because
they got it to 6. It's not like I see what you're saying, but
right.
They would score, but then we were able to fight right back.
Sure.
So we never had that 20-1 run. We never had that 18-4 run. But what it was, we had I think one like 12-2 run, and that got it to double figures, and then it got down to 8, and then boom, it was back to 12. Then it might get whittled down to 9. Kendall Anthony hits a 3, boom, we get back to 11 or 12. And that was the beauty of the game. That really was. They just Richmond was never able to shut us down on the offensive side of the floor. And then for us, we made a couple critical defensive stops towards the end of the game, and that was the difference. And you win by 11, and it was a highly entertaining game. I mean, golly, Kendall Anthony and Cedric Lindsey, holy cow. 31 and 21 between those two guys. But for us to have 6 Rams in double figures, 6 guys, and at one point in time when you looked up at the scoreboard, all the guys that were on our scoreboard that shows the score all had double figures, I think really shows what kind of direction this team is in. And Mike Litos, golly, here's a shocker. Mike said something really smart at the end of the broadcast. He said, we were sitting around in October and said, man, if we get Melvin to hit some threes and Javonte to get a double-double, and Travion doing Travion things like he likes to say, Rob hits a couple threes, and boy, if we get Jaquan Lewis to score a little bit, and then Briante, we're going to be tough to beat. And all those things happened on Saturday, and we were tough to beat.
I think that we had talked about this in the pregame show, that this VCU team has found multiple ways to win.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Whether it's riding the backs of Trey and Jew or having 6 guys in double figures.
But it's not. There's not one thing. You don't know what you're going to get. Again, Travion Graham, 34 against LaSalle, hurts his toe against Fordham, and then Javonte Reddick has a big game. 6 guys in double figures. You're waiting for Rob Brandenburg, who can have big games. Melvin Johnson, he was the leading scorer against Fordham. I think that's what makes us. How do you scheme for the Rams?
No doubt.
If you're Danny Hurley right now and you've got a chalkboard and film and you're watching the last 4 games, at what point are you like throwing your hands up in the air and saying, I don't know what we're going to do? Because if we let Travion do his thing, he's going to have 34. If we focus on Travion, he's going to dish it to Melvin, or he's going to go down low to Javonte, and those guys are going to hurt us. And if we crush all 3 of those guys, then this kid Jaquan Lewis, with the guts of a gladiator, is going to drive the lane and hit shots in the lane, and he's also going to hit this little set 3-point shot that he's very good at. And so all those things have got to drive opposing coaches nuts, which I really think in the last 2 weeks, the Rams they've scared a lot of teams. You beat LaSalle at LaSalle, you beat Richmond by 11, and all of a sudden I think we're an imposing factor, and no one wants to come to play the Rams at VCU anytime. But now, it's like it's going to chalk that one up for a loss, and we'll move on to the next part of our season.
Let's take a timeout. When we come back, we'll hear it firsthand from head coach Shaka Smart. You're listening to the Shaka Smart Radio Show, live from Home Team Grill and the Fan on ESPN 950.
This Weird Game moment.
John Keats said that. To grow, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. To give anything less than your best is to sacrifice your gift. Do you have the propensity to be motivated from within? That's my version of making it real.
Here you go, Joey. You received your VCU alumni discount.
Rodney, you ready for the big game tonight?
Oh, I'm sorry, Rodney. The discount's only for VCU alumni members.
Man, it's alright. Let's go blow off some steam at the gym. Come on. Keep pushing, Rodney. I need one more rep from you. There
Hey, you with the horns. Do you have your VCU alumni membership? Ram Nation, don't let this happen to you. Join VCU alumni today.
Look closely. Do you see a classroom? A lab? A studio? We do. At Virginia Commonwealth University, learning happens everywhere. Where will you make it real?
While Campbell was discovering what she wants to be when she grows up, Nurse Kathy was discovering ways to make sure leukemia never keeps her from being a kid. Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU, discovering the best care for kids.
And I'm judged, obviously, in the media by wins and losses. I understand that, but that's not my number one goal. My number one goal is to help our guys be the best they can be, and by the time they get out of here, really realize the potential that they have. If we do that with each one of our players, then winning's going to take care of itself. That's how I make it real. All right, what's next?
At Virginia Commonwealth University, research happens everywhere. From classrooms without walls to a campus without borders. All you have to do is jump in. VCU, make it real.
VCU stand up. You don't wanna go to war with the Rams. Join a group bigger than the Wu-Tang Clan. VCU alumni is key to victory. Gold has more benefits than Richmond has history. $25 is all it takes. Represent the Rams across the states. Discounts, pride, the benefits are stacked. Rolling with the Peppers, yeah, that's where it's at. Membership, that's the move. Build a Ram Nation, it's up to you.
I research and collect quotes. Those provide me with motivation, inspiration. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. John Keats said that. To grow, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. To give anything less than your best is to sacrifice your gift. Do you have the propensity to be motivated from within? That's my version of making it real.
Here you go, Joey. You received your VCU alumni discount.
Rodney, you ready for the big game tonight?
Oh, I'm sorry, Rodney. The discount's only for VCU alumni members.
Man, it's alright. Let's go blow off some steam at the gym. Come on. Keep pushing, Rodney. I need one more rep from you. There you go.
Hey, you with the horns. Do you
He couldn't have said it any better than me. How about a big round of applause for the head coach of your VCU Rams, head coach Shaka Smart.
Hey, Greg.
How are you, Coach?
How's it going?
It's great to see you here, and obviously a lot of smiles here at Home Team Grill. That usually happens when you beat your crosstown rival.
Yeah, it was a fun game. I thought the crowd was terrific. Our band was terrific, as always, and it was just an electric atmosphere in the Siegel Center. I think for all of us that were a part of that game, just to have an appreciation of the setting there and the frenzy that was created in the building by a lot of different entities, that was a lot of fun. And, you know, it was a different type of deal because we played at 11 a.m. And so I woke up. I kept waking up in the middle of the night, you know, because I didn't want to oversleep or anything. So I woke up at 3 a.m. Then I woke up at 4 a.m. Then I woke up at 4:30. And I think I think I can speak for a lot of people. We were all excited to go.
Yeah, I don't mean to single out one group, but when you see college students lined up outside the building, because we all know college students don't get up before 10 on the weekend, and they're out there cold and they're amped up. I thought that was really, really cool.
Yeah, they were terrific. I thought our students did a great job of getting up earlier than they normally would. And I also want to give a lot of credit to our marketing and promotion staff, because, you know, Robbie and his team definitely did some things to spur the students to get up early. And, you know, again, it's a team effort. You know, everyone works together. And, you know, I think, you know, when you check the score of a game, you just think about, did your team win or did your team lose? But there's a lot that goes into, you know, what we had going on Saturday and what we'll have going on again on Thursday. And we're just appreciative to be part of that.
Going back to your noon start at LaSalle, you took a course of action, really didn't have the guys just roll out of bed, but really jump out and be active. They clearly looked like they had that same kind of energy on Saturday morning at the Siegel Center.
Yeah, they were great. You know, we had breakfast at 7:30, team breakfast that kind of served as our pregame meal. And Rob Brandenburg and I actually met at 7 in the office to spend some time doing some pregame stuff that we do. And the guys were usually they're pretty slow getting going in the morning and wiping the sleep out of their eyes, but there was none of that last Saturday.
7-0 start, and that really sort of set the tone for the game on Saturday.
Yeah, I thought just playing with energy and enthusiasm, that gave us a great start, and like you said, set the tone for the way the game was going to go. And I thought our guys in the first half were just terrific on the defensive end, which gave us a great cushion going into halftime.
Yeah, and it was, I mean, you saw that effort consistently for virtually 40 minutes on the defensive end and the offensive end.
Yeah, great effort, and, you know, you got to give a lot of credit to Richmond's guards, Cedric Lindsay and Kendall Anthony. They played their butts off, and very, very difficult to guard. They got in the lane, you know, all the time in the second half, and, you know, we tried some different things on them, but they did a nice job. And our guys kept playing and kept battling, didn't drop their heads, and I think what allowed us to you know, breathe somewhat easy is that, you know, we were able to kind of keep a working margin for most of that game. And, you know, when you score 81 points, that helps.
It's funny that you bring that up, that working margin, because we all know basketball's a game of runs. You know, you make one, I make one. Richmond never really made a run. They did get it to 6, but you guys were able to maintain a healthy cushion. I think I remember you were up 10 after 10 and 10 after 5 and 10 at the 4-minute mark. You never really have them land a big counterpunch.
Well, you know, I think credit goes to both teams, their guys for continuing to fight and make some really, really tough shots, and then our guys for making some big plays on our end. A guy like Javante Reddick, who, you know, wasn't really his day in terms of the ball going in. You know, he missed some shots that he normally would make, but he kept playing and he kept battling. You know, for Jew on a quote-unquote off day to get a double-double, you know, says a lot. You know, when he was younger, an off day, he was cashing it in, and he wasn't really going to give us much. He's really made a lot of progress there.
Jew's averaging a double-double in A-10 play.
He is. He's the only guy in our conference that in A-10 games is averaging a double-double, and that's something that has not been lost on him. He's very motivated to rebound the basketball, and he's doing a better and better job stealing and posting up and getting the basketball. So that's a high percentage shot for us on most days, and we're going to continue to go into him and encourage him to do what he does.
A week ago, we talked about sort of the shot pecking order. It's Trey and Jew, and you go down the totem pole. On Saturday, it was sort of a different equation with 6 guys in double figures and everybody contributing at different parts during the game.
Well, because of the way we play, there's going to be a lot of guys that get opportunities. And, you know, there's a difference sometimes between calling a play and then just playing offense without, stopping and calling something. So, when we just play, especially in transition, and we're going fast or off of a turnover, there's no pecking order, there's no hierarchy. We want to go get a good shot. If it's a Melvin Johnson open three, or if it's Rob Brandenburg slashing to the basket, or if it's Jordan Burgess in transition, those guys are guys that can score in those situations.
I know you look at a lot at offensive efficiency numbers, your defensive efficiency is always great, but your offensive efficiency is very, very strong. Are you pleased? Do you see progress with the shot selection?
It's gotten better. It's been a big point of emphasis for us, Greg, because to be honest, for the first half of the year, that was something that was not a strength of ours. I think Darius did a really good job taking pride in getting guys shots last year, and then the best play finisher on our team last year, even though he wasn't our leading scorer, was Troy Daniels. His numbers were off the charts in terms of his ability to finish off plays when guys got him shots. So missing those two guys, I think earlier in the year, we were a little slow going. Plus, we had too many guys trying to hit home runs, as we say, on offense instead of just making the easy pass, hitting a single. That's been a big emphasis for us. I think our guys are getting each other more shots. We're getting more assists, and that's helping our offense.
No question about it. Single out a couple of guys, obviously with 6 guys in double figures. We have to talk a little bit about Briante Weber, who did go ahead and set the all-time career steals record at VCU, breaking Rolando Lamb's 29-year-old record. He did it pretty early in the game. He only needed 3, and he got them quick.
Yeah, I didn't realize this, but I guess he was kind of counting down every time he got a steal during the game, which, as a coach, that's a no-no. Just focus on the game, Bree. But, part of what makes him great is just his enthusiasm for things like that. And, I think he was able to stay focused on what mattered, in addition to, knowing how many steals he had. And certainly a lot's been made of him breaking that record, so it would have been tough for him to not have that in his mind.
Hey, when he does the stuff like counting down the steals, is it balanced by the fact that he's just so committed to being the very best on defense, which is something you just want to see, someone who takes pride in defense?
Well, if you go back to the start of the game, he fouled on the very first play on defense, and he was going for a steal. And, I just kind of looked at him and didn't say anything. I just looked at him, and he looked at me, and he was just like, okay, I got you. He just nodded, and that was basically without speaking, our conversation of, hey, let's have a level of discipline, and we need you on the court. And he did a good job of that.
Yeah, because I remember that play, because I think a lot of Rams probably thought, is this the way they're going to call the game? Mm-hmm. I mean, it was probably the right call on the foul, but did that go through your mind? Because I know that was something we talked about in November, but we haven't really touched on much now.
Yeah, I mean, you're always curious exactly how a game is going to be called, and then when your point guard picks up a foul 30 seconds into the game,
right?
That can be a little worrisome, because he's an aggressive player, and now if he gets one more, you get put in a bind. Are you going to sit him for the rest of the half? There's obviously a lot of basketball left to play in the first half.
And I know that Coach Mooney brought up about Bree's offensive exploits, because certainly he is put in positions where he can take good shots, and he's making them. And he's certainly, it looks like his offensive game has sort of evolved.
Well, he's really making progress there. A lot of it is confidence. His first couple years, he was just kind of strictly thought of as a defensive player, and even somewhat of an afterthought as an outside shooter, a guy that teams didn't really have to guard. We've encouraged him 2 things. One, to get a lot of extra shooting up outside of practice, which he did a great job of in the offseason. And then, during the season, we try to watch his legs, because he works so hard, but when we can, we try to get extra reps with him. And then the other thing is, when you get an open shot in the game, you got to step up and have the guts to shoot it, and you'll be willing to live with the consequences. And he certainly missed some this year, but I think of late in our last 5-6 games, he's made some too.
You've talked about taking good shots and getting up more shots. I know that Melvin Johnson's a guy who's been out very, very early in pregame trying to get up more shots.
Oh, he gets out there so early. I worry sometimes he's going to wear himself out, but that's his routine. And the best shooter in terms of numbers, at least in NBA history, is Ray Allen, and he does the same thing. He's got a ridiculous routine where he gets to the arena and shoots 2-3 hours before the game. So Mel's a guy, we want him taking good shots from 3 anytime he can get them. We want him taking good shots from two. He's a talented kid. I think he's making really good progress, and obviously Saturday had a big game for us.
We are just getting warmed up here on the Shaka Smart Radio Show. When we come back, we're going to see if that ESPN executive was impressed with the atmosphere at the Siegel Center. We'll certainly look ahead to the next games, and maybe a little update on Troy Daniels, too, who got some really, really good news this past week. You're listening to the Shaka Smart Radio Show, live from Home Team Grill and the Fan on ESPN.
Ram Nation, don't let this happen to you. Join VCU alumni today.
Look closely. Do you see a classroom? A lab? A studio? We do. At Virginia Commonwealth University, learning happens everywhere. Where will you make it real?
While Campbell was discovering what she wants to be when she grows up, Nurse Kathy was discovering ways to make sure leukemia never keeps her from being a kid. Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU, discovering the best care for kids.
And I'm judged, obviously, in the media by wins and losses. I understand that, but that's not my number one goal. My number one goal is to help our guys be the best they can be, and by the time they get out of here, really realize the potential that they have. If we do that with each one of our players, then winning's going to take care of itself. That's how I make it real. All right, what's next?
At Virginia Commonwealth University, research happens everywhere. From classrooms without walls to a campus without borders. All you have to do is jump in. VCU, make it real.
VCU stand up. You don't want to go to war with the Rams. Join a group bigger than the Wu-Tang Clan. VCU alumni is key to victory. Gold has more benefits than Richmond has history. $25 is all it takes. Represent the Rams across the states. Discounts, pride, the benefits are stacked. Rolling with the Peppers, yeah, that's where it's at. Membership, that's the move. Build a Ram Nation, it's up to you.
I research and collect quotes. Those provide me with motivation, inspiration. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. John Keats said that. To grow, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. To give anything less than your best is to sacrifice your gift. Do you have the propensity to be motivated from within? That's my version of making it real.
Here you go, Joey. You received your VCU alumni discount.
Rodney, you ready for the big game tonight?
Oh, I'm sorry, Rodney. The discount's only for VCU alumni members.
Man, it's all right. Let's go blow off some steam at the gym. Come on. Keep pushing, Rodney. I need one more rep from you. There you go.
Hey, you with the horns. Do you have your VCU alumni membership? Ram Nation, don't let this happen to you. Join VCU alumni today.
Look closely. Do you see a classroom? A lab? A studio? We do. At Virginia Commonwealth University, learning happens everywhere. Where will you make it real?
Just going to do my best to bring the same sort of enthusiasm to this show as Mike Litos brings to the game broadcast, Coach.
I'll tell you what, Greg, it's great to hear Mike Litos getting fired up. I was a little worried about him after Travion Graham hit that shot at UVA, but you can tell he's in midseason form now.
He was amped, and he sort of talked about the balanced scoring and just how dangerous of a team. I mean you know that, but when we see it unfold on the floor, it really, I think, gets folks excited because you do have so many scoring opportunities out there at different times.
Well, you want different guys to contribute to your team. Scoring is just one way that they can, but certainly it gives you a different look offensively if you have a variety of guys that can put the ball in the basket. And there's no specific blueprint for getting it done. You look at the LaSalle game, it was two guys really taking turns for the second half and overtime scoring with Javante and Trey. Saturday's game against Richmond was much more balanced. If you ask which I'd rather have, whatever it takes.
Sure.
But you definitely, in terms of contributing, you want 8, 9, 10, 11 guys to be able to come out there and contribute to your team, because I think that gives you a big advantage over teams that don't play as many guys.
We all know that there was an ESPN executive at the Siegel Center who was sort of just getting a feel for how awesome the Siegel Center is, something everybody here knows. So what was her impression of game day for VCU basketball?
I think she came away really impressed. She is someone that is, like I told you last week, a good friend of our program and has really helped us, over the years. And she was just coming down to check out the Siegel Center, the atmosphere, the crowd, the band, everything that went into it, and see how it looked. And I know she came away, in her own words, very, very impressed.
Really, really great stuff. And I think just getting on their radar for something like game day, because we all kind of know that's where it's headed, that's half the battle right there, because there's so many schools that would want to do it, and then to get sort of make that cut is certainly a step in the right direction.
It is, and there's only a handful of schools that get to host college game day. And to be honest with you, the hardest challenge, the biggest challenge for us is the opponent. Because it has to be a game that is attractive enough in ESPN's mind to merit that. So we're going to keep working hard on that, and in the meantime, obviously we're excited about our fans and everyone continuing to provide an unbelievable atmosphere.
It's that time in the show where you can ask Coach Smart a question. You can tweet it to #SmartShow, and I'll tell you what, Chuck Bailey's going to take over my job. He asks great questions every single week. He noticed playing a little bit more zone. How much more zone are you kind of implementing, and is that sort of a trend? Does it depend on the opponent?
Well, it's interesting because as a coaching staff, you make these decisions in the game, and obviously I have to make the final decision, but different guys on the staff may suggest zone or don't play zone, and there's a couple of guys who are just they hate zone, so they're never going to suggest zone. Mike Rhodes is probably the most open to it, and he suggested it the other day. It was good. It gave us just a little bit of a change of pace to throw off the rhythm of the Richmond's offense just for a little while. But it's not our main deal. It's not as aggressive as a defense as we like to be, but it's certainly something that we can use and have worked on using at times.
Have you talked to other coaches that you respect that don't normally play zone but may have started to implement more, and how they went about that? Like a guy like maybe Billy or somebody like that.
Yeah, I mean, Billy at different times has played a lot of zone when he didn't have as much confidence in his team's man-to-man. Now, over the last few years, they've been one of the best defensive teams in the country. The other day, they held Texas A&M to 36 points. So you don't see any zone or much zone at all because they're feeling really good about how they're defending in man. So my thing is you don't want to go zone out of a frame of mind of weakness. You like to, if you do it, go zone because it's something that can throw the other team off, but it's not something that you're falling back on. So again, it's not our main thing, but maybe something that you'll see a little bit more.
More of a lighthearted question here. Somebody wants to know, obviously the atmosphere was sensational, and the Peppers have a lot to do with that. Somebody wants to know, what is your favorite song in the Peppers repertoire?
Oh man, they've got a lot of songs. I mean, they've really. I got to give Ryan and the band some major credit. They've really expanded their repertoire.
Their
this year.
playlist is extended.
I feel like they've added more songs this year, or as many songs this year, than they did all the last few years. So I mean, they've really been working very, very hard. I'm gonna have to go with my favorite song would be Justin Timberlake, "Mirrors." I really
That's a good
like
one.
that song. And
like it a lot.
I like the way our band plays it. I mean, you would sometimes you would think certain songs need the words,
right?
But our band, it's unbelievable how they bring a song to life, obviously without the words.
It's really incredible. And you said you were in your office at 7 a.m. with Rob. You heard them practicing, right? They were there at 7 or before that.
They were up early. In fact, they unknowingly entered into the exercise that Rob and I were doing in our office, because it's something where you take notice and you have an awareness of what's going on around you in terms of all your senses. So we could hear very clearly the band playing in the background.
Great stuff there. Yesterday, well, 2 days ago was the Super Bowl. It was obviously a big deal for Richmond, Virginia. Two guys who grew up playing high school football here are now going to have Super Bowl rings, and Russell Wilson and Mike Robinson. Did you watch the Super Bowl?
I did. Actually, the last 2 years were the first years that I've watched the Super Bowl since the 80s. I just never, really since I was a kid, I was not a big football guy, especially professional football, but I've really, last couple of years, gotten into watching and just kind of learning from the psychological side of it, because obviously there's not a bigger game in all of sports than the Super Bowl. It's one game, winner take all, unlike basketball and baseball and hockey where it's a series.
So what'd you think of it? I know you're aware of the two Richmond guys.
Well, I was really happy for those guys. I don't know those guys at all, but I've heard unbelievable things about them. And those are the people that you root for, even when you don't know them, right? Because those are great guys, and they represent Richmond. So I think the success they have is something that a lot of people around here take great pride in. I also was happy to see the Seahawks win because they had been building up for 2 weeks. The media had been building up how it was the best defense against the best offense. And I've been telling our players that this is something we talk about all the time, is that defense, because it's something that you control more and it's something that can be more consistent, is the most important thing to be great at if you want to be a championship level team. And I've told our guys this year, if we want to win a championship, our defense is going to have to get better and better and better. And so I think Sunday's Super Bowl game was great evidence of that. The better defensive team won. I don't think anyone would have guessed that margin, but it worked out that way.
It was Bill Parcells who said, offense sells tickets, defense wins championships. And you maybe see that now being adopted across multiple sports. It started in the NFL, but you said it very much applies in basketball.
Well, the best defensive teams put themselves in position to win, and let's be honest, you still have to put the ball in the basket, but the elite teams out there are good at both. They're really good defending. They can hold teams down to a very low number, and then they can put the ball in the basket, and that's why they win so much.
Before we take a break, I want to talk about Troy Daniels, who's just having a heck of a year in the D-League, and he got some great news this week.
He did. Troy was named the D-League All-Star team, and I don't even think it was close. He's just having a phenomenal year, and I'm so happy for him. We've stayed in really close contact. We talk quite a bit, text a lot. He's in a great place mentally. He's just so confident. He's got a few games left before their All-Star break, and he's already broken a record. How about this, Greg? He's already broken the D-League record for made threes, which is it's amazing. It's amazing. Andy Rautins, who played at Syracuse a few years back, had the record, and he set the record in 60-some games. I believe Troy broke Andy Rautins' record in 29 games. So it's unbelievable the tear that he's on, and I want to encourage everybody that is able to make it to the GW game to keep an eye out for Troy, because he and I have been talking. I've been working on getting him back here to spend some time, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be coming. I think we play GW 2-3 games from now. He should be here for that game, and really excited for our fans to get a chance to see him, and obviously our players too.
GW is a week from tomorrow, the 12th. What do you think it will take for him to get the call on the NBA? There's some timing and probably luck involved as well.
Well, it's all situational. It only takes one, first of all. It only takes one team to be interested, but it's very situational. A team is going to need, in their specific situation, someone just like Troy, someone obviously that shoots the ball. That's what he does great, and they're going to have to see something in him where they give him an opportunity. There's been 2 players already on his D-League team that have been called up. In fact, one, Isaiah Cannon, has been called up multiple times, and those guys are really good players. So I've told Troy, hey, just keep that great mindset you have. Stay the course. Don't get caught up in what's happening with other guys. Run your own race, and he's done a great job doing that.
Great stuff. One more timeout. When we come back, we'll certainly talk about the next opponent, which is Rhode Island, and certainly the stretch that the Rams have ahead. Home against Rhode Island, at St. Joe's, home against GW before our next Shaka Smart radio show, which will continue live from Home Team Grill and the Fan on ESPN 950 and Sports FM 100.5.
Discovering what she wants to be when she grows up, Nurse Kathy was discovering ways to make sure leukemia never keeps her from being a kid. Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU, discovering the best care for kids.
And I'm judged, obviously, in the media by wins and losses. I understand that, but that's not my number one goal. My number one goal is to help our guys be the best they can be, and by the time they get out of here, really realize the potential that they have. If we do that with each one of our players, then winning's going to take care of itself. That's how I make it real. All right, what's next?
At Virginia Commonwealth University, research happens everywhere. From classrooms without walls to a campus without borders. All you have to do is jump in. VCU, make it real.
VCU stand up. You don't wanna go to war with the Rams. Join a group bigger than the Wu-Tang Clan. VCU alumni is key to victory. Gold has more benefits than Richmond has history. $25 is all it takes. Represent the Rams across the states. Discounts, pride, the benefits are stacked. Rolling with the Peppers, yeah, that's where it's at. Membership, that's the move. Build a Ram Nation, it's up to you.
I research and collect quotes. Those provide me with motivation, inspiration. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. John Keats said that. To grow, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. To give anything less than your best is to sacrifice your gift. You have the propensity to be motivated from within. That's my version of making it real.
Here you go, Joey. You received your VCU alumni discount.
Rodney, you ready for the big game tonight?
Oh, I'm sorry, Rodney. The discount's only for VCU alumni members.
Man, it's all right. Let's go blow off some steam at the gym. Come on. Keep pushing, Rodney. I need one more rep from you. There you go.
Hey, you with the horns. Do you have your VCU alumni membership? Ram Nation, don't let this happen to you. Join VCU alumni today.
Look closely. Do you see a classroom? A lab? A studio? we do. At Virginia Commonwealth University, learning happens everywhere. Where will you make it real?
While Campbell was discovering what she wants to be when she grows up, Nurse Kathy was discovering ways to make sure leukemia never keeps her from being a kid. Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU, discovering the best care for kids.
And I'm judged, obviously, in the media by wins and losses. I understand that, but that's not my number one goal. My number one goal is to help our guys be the best they can be, and by the time they get out of here, really realize the potential that they have. If we do that with each one of our players, then winning's going to take care of itself. That's how I make it real. All right, what's next?
At Virginia Commonwealth University, research happens everywhere. From classrooms without walls to a campus without borders.
At the Siegel Center on Thursday night against Rhode Island. That's why we're here tonight at Home Team Grill on the Fan and on ESPN 950 and Sports FM 100.5. Next up is a Rhode Island team coached by a guy that has a lot of energy and a guy that I know you have a lot of respect for.
Yeah, Danny Hurley's a terrific coach, and you're right, he does have great energy. He flies around on that sideline, and you can see from the way that his team responds to him that his energy is infectious with them, and that's what coaching's all about. I mean, obviously there's a lot of different styles, but you can see he's in the trenches with his guys. They've got a really talented team, some guys that are back from last year that were good players, and then some new players that they probably had the best recruiting class in the Atlantic 10 in terms of, they have some freshmen that are really playing well and doing a lot of good things.
Talk about some of the challenges they present as they come into the Siegel Center tomorrow, Thursday night.
Well, the biggest challenge personnel-wise is Xavier Mumford, their leading scorer. He, I believe, was second in the A-10 last year in scoring, and is a guy that is averaging over 17 points per game, can really put the ball in the basket, and he's scary and dangerous because he makes really tough shots. You can defend him well, and he can still throw in very, very tough shots from way out, from 3, from 2, going to the basket. So we've got to do a really good job on him as a team. It's not just going to be one guy defending him, but as a group, we've got to do a nice job on him. Then from there, they have some other very, very good players. They have a big kid named Baruta, who's from a European big kid who's really, really talented. He can score, he can pass, he can put the ball down on the floor. He's averaging about 13, 14 points, about 7 rebounds a game. So our bigs are going to have their hands full with him. And then again, from there, they've got some other guys that can shoot the ball, can score the basketball. We need to do a great job first and foremost on our defensive end.
I know Rhode Island they're probably a team that wishes they had more wins, but when you kind of look at their games and their box scores, they're throwing a lot of big punches and testing a lot of the teams that we've been talking about in the A-10, those 7 teams in the top 70, 80 of the RPI.
Greg, every team wishes they had more wins.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Unless they're undefeated like Syracuse and Wichita State. But, I mean, Rhode Island has been extremely competitive. First conference game of the year, they took St. Louis down to the wire. In fact, had a 1-point lead with, 17 seconds left or something like that. And then Jordan Jett made a terrific play, got fouled, made both free throws, which put St. Louis up 1, and they ended up winning the game. But certainly Rhode Island has gone toe-to-toe with a lot of the heavyweights in our league, the really good teams in our league. And it's evidence of the fact that in our conference, and you can look at the George Mason St. Louis game the other day as another piece of evidence.
Yeah.
In our conference, all the teams are good. All the teams are well coached. All the teams have very talented perimeter players. I mean, I tell our guards, hey, get ready to defend some more great guards. You just got done with LaSalle and Fordham and Richmond, and you don't get a night off, next time, because every team we play has got guys that can really attack.
Yeah, well, and you're exactly right. But that's why, the benefit is when you look at the conference RPI ratings and you see the A10 sitting up there, that I know you don't worry about this. We do, about it paying dividends down in March when they start handing out bids.
Well, Mike Morrell from our staff is our resident RPI guy, and it's probably something that he has some type of monitor real time on his body that he can look at and check the RPI and the conference RPI and our opponent's RPI. I got to give him a lot of credit. He helps me with our non-conference schedule. He and I work together, and he is so on top of what teams' RPIs are from the previous year and coming into this year, and then obviously during the course of the year. And that's not easy to know because it certainly can be a moving target from year to year.
I know your sole focus is Rhode Island, but there will be a road trip coming up this weekend to St. Joe's, another tough battle going up there to Philly.
Yeah, again, I'm focused on Rhode Island, Greg, and certainly when that game comes, we'll focus on that. But in this league, you do not want to make the mistake of looking ahead. You want to focus 1,000% of your energy on the team that you play next. And certainly for us, we have another home game here on Thursday, and we want to take advantage of it because it's our third home game in a row. And our guys have done a good job these first couple, but certainly on Thursday, we want to put our best foot forward and play a great game.
Before we cut Coach loose, we want to remind everyone to log on to voteshaka.com. Of course, Coach is you're doing well in the ESPN Infinity Coaches Charity Challenge up against several other coaches around the country. I think you're approaching the top 5 right now, but certainly, just like every team needs more wins, you need more votes. You can vote every single day to support Friends Association of Richmond, trying to win $100,000 for that wonderful organization. Please go to Vote Shaka. You can vote once a day, every day, voteshaka.com.
That's right, Greg. I appreciate everyone that has voted, and keep it up. We got some stiff competition, but I think it's something where in that challenge, everyone has their own charity, and they're all local charities. So everyone in Richmond that's a part of this community, that cares about this community, and certainly the kids that make up this community, get online and vote once a day, and it's something that can really help people here.
And sir, we just had a gentleman walk in and just wanted to say thank you because he's on the board of Friends Association, and I know David Young has said it, but certainly even a member of the board is so appreciative of what you and Mai have done, doing so much work, not just to raise money, but to raise awareness for the wonderful mission of Friends Association.
Well, it's a terrific organization, and all you have to do is go by there and see the kids, and you're going to be hooked because they're doing phenomenal things for those kids. Whether it's preschool type activities, or they've got a great music program. Some of the educational stuff that they're doing over there. It's something that if that service was not provided to those kids, those kids, quite frankly, would not have the same opportunities, and they would not be as far along as they are in terms of readiness to be the best they can be in school and outside of school.
Coach, before we cut you loose, final thoughts as you return to the court on Thursday to face Rhode Island.
Well, we're excited to get back on the court. We had a great practice today. I really was impressed with our guys' approach towards practice. I've really challenged those guys to understand that where we are right now is almost midway through the conference season, but where we want to be is continuing to improve and continuing to get better, and that's what we're going to have to do. If you look at the games we're going to have to play down the stretch, it's the best of the best in our league. So we just got to take things one game at a time, get better in practice, be as connected as we can be as a unit. I think when you think about the fact that what we're trying to do is something bigger than all of us individually, if we can focus on that and keep that at the front of our mind, that's what's going to give us the best chance to be successful.
Thank you, Coach. Best of luck.
Thank you, Greg.
How about a big round of applause for head coach Shaka Smart? One final timeout. We'll wrap it up here on ESPN 950 and Sports FM 100.5.
Hey, what's good? It is Tuesday, and this is your day.
VCU. Make it real.
Join a group bigger than the Wu-Tang Clan. VCU alumni is key to victory. Gold has more benefits than Richmond has history. 25 bucks is all it takes. Represent the Rams across the states. Discounts, pride, the benefits are stacked. Rolling with the Peppers, yeah, that's where it's at. Membership, that's the move. Build a Ram Nation, it's up to you.
I research and collect quotes. Those provide me with motivation, inspiration. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. John Keats said that. To grow, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. To give anything less than your best is to sacrifice your gift. Do you have the propensity to be motivated from within? That's my version of making it real.
Here you go, Joey. You received your VCU alumni discount.
Rodney, you ready for the big game tonight?
Oh, I'm sorry, Rodney. The discount's only for VCU alumni members.
Man, it's alright. Let's go blow off some steam at the gym. Come on. Keep pushing, Rodney. I need one more rep from you. There you go.
Hey, you with the horns. Do you have your VCU alumni membership? Ram Nation, don't let this happen to you. Join VCU alumni today.
Look closely. Do you see a classroom? A lab? A studio? We do. At Virginia Commonwealth University, learning happens everywhere. Where will you make it real?
While Campbell was discovering what she wants to be when she grows up, Nurse Kathy was discovering ways to make sure leukemia never keeps her from being a kid. Children's Hospital of Richmond at VCU, discovering the best care for kids.
And I'm judged, obviously, in the media by wins and losses. I understand that, but that's not my number one goal. My number one goal is to help our guys be the best they can be, and by the time they get out of here, really realize the potential that they have. If we do that with each one of our players, then winning's going to take care of itself. That's how I make it real. All right, what's next?
At Virginia Commonwealth University, research happens everywhere. From classrooms without walls to a campus without borders. All you have to do is jump in. VCU, make it real.
VCU stand up. You don't want to go to war with the Rams. Join a group bigger than the Wu-Tang Clan. VCU alumni is key to victory. Gold has more benefits than Richmond has.
Team Grill in the Fan. We'll be back here next Thursday, and then it'll be back to Tuesdays the rest of the way because of the Rams' schedule. They've got a couple Thursday night games. They have that Friday night game at UMass, so they'll be traveling on Thursday. So the show shifts to Tuesday nights, just so you know, but we'll always keep you updated through social media channels and VCUathletics.com. We had mentioned about sort of the RPI, and again, just to look at it, it again is really impressive. I know real-time RPI has the A10 as the 6th rated conference, but the margin is so close between the ACC and even the Big East. You got UMass as the highest rated RPI team still with a number 9 RPI ranking. St. Louis at 25, VCU at 28, and then GW at 31, Richmond at 49. So 5 in the top 50. Then you've got St. Joe's at 54, Dayton at 64. So 7 in the top 70. LaSalle makes it 8 in the top 80. I'm sorry, St. Bonnie's there at 79, 9 in the top 80. So again, you hear Coach talk about how tough they are. This league is night in, night out, and there's the proof right there. And Rhode Island, with an RPI of 142, they've struggled, just 2-6 in conference, 10-11 overall. But a team that certainly is going to come in with a lot of energy, because that's the way Danny Hurley coaches them up. You're going to see that from them. So you know that next up after Rhode Island is St. Joe's on the road at 54, which could be another top 75 road win opportunity. We already know the Rams have 4 true road wins in the top set, which is amazing. And then, of course, back home next Wednesday night against George Washington, the return game. GW at 5-2 in the league, a full game behind the Rams. Looking at the schedule for tomorrow night, because the Rams play on Thursday night, but tomorrow night, St. Louis, number 13 in the nation, is at St. Joe's. You've got Dayton taking on George Mason up in Fairfax. Duquesne is at George Washington, so the Colonials hosting the Dukes. UMass is at home against LaSalle, and then Richmond is at home tomorrow night against St. Bonnie's. But, boy, it's a big week for St. Joe's as well, with St. Louis and VCU both coming to town. So things could change so quickly in the Atlantic 10. Want to thank Coach Smart again, VCU Director of Athletics Ed McLaughlin, and all the guests on his show, lacrosse coach Jen O'Brien, Ed Sherman from the Sherman Report, and John Lugbill of Sports Backers. And, of course, thanks to everyone who came out to Home Team Grill and the Fan, and all the folks that are listening on ESPN 950 and now simulcast on Sports FM 100.5. And thanks to Broseph back at the studio. I'm Greg Burton. We'll see you at the Siegel Center on Thursday night as VCU hosts Rhode Island. You've been listening to the Shaka Smart Radio Show live from Home Team Grill and the Fan on ESPN 950.
Coming up next, it's an exclusive broadcast.